we're going to start off now with something that's a bit of a change up for us because we get calls about having stars and celebrities get involved with brands a lot, and it's usually as a way to get the brand on our cover. Anyone who's seen the cover of our magazine this time knows we don't usually do that. We have an animated lizard up there right now. But we also legitimately recognize that celebrities are often that extra fuel that can really help accelerate a brand's development at the right point in its life cycle. We talked about that a lot 6 months ago when we had Rohan Oza from Vitamin Water up talking about plugging people in at the right time. Today, though, we've got an opportunity to talk about a new kind of celebrity involvement in branding with an actor, producer, and cultural figure who's curated his projects carefully, both on screen and off. Mark Wahlberg is an Academy Award-nominated actor and producer for his work in The Fighter and The Departed. He's produced several films and television shows that my wife and I are addicted to, like Boardwalk Empire, for which he won a Golden Globe, and Entourage. He's also a revered figure in the Boston area, where BevNet is based, and we'd like to invite him to stop by the office anytime he's home. In addition to his work as an actor and producer, Mark has been a significant shareholder of Aquahydrate for about 4 years, not just as an endorser or a face of the brand, but as a participant in its relaunch. He's helped on the ground, including a bunch of retailer calls last week that I hear went pretty well. It's that kind of largely back office involvement that we're going to talk about in a minute. How the celebrity isn't necessarily the face of the brand, but how their involvement is taking place at the creative, operational, and financial level. So to discuss that, let's welcome Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, come on up.
All right.
All right, let's have a seat.
Oh, beautiful. I get to sit on the couch. I don't have to face the panel. Thank God. That was brutal.
Any panel questions?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
So you did a bunch of days with Kroger.
Oh, we just came back from Cincinnati, yes.
How was that?
It was great. We went to Cincinnati. We flew there for a day trip, had a meeting with them. It went great. We had a great dinner, went out for steak, had some great wine. Was really enthusiastic about the beverage business again. Then I came here, and now I'm kind of depressed again. After watching all these people with these new products come up there and try to, do the big sell. But I never had any interest in being in the beverage business. I just found this great product, and friends always come up to me and say, hey, will you meet so-and-so, and somebody's going to pitch me something. And, as a favor and out of guilt, I usually say, okay, I'll take the meeting. And these guys came to me with this product, and the guy starts talking about the proprietary process and reverse osmosis and all this stuff, and I'm not even paying attention to what he's saying because I'm focusing on what I have to do. But I said leave the product, and I started drinking the water, and I immediately felt the results of the water. I was training for a movie that took almost as long as it's taking to build this brand, The Fighter. I've been training for this movie for 4.5 years, and I was having a hard time getting out of bed, and just my recovery time changed, and I took my training to another level, and I thought, I didn't change anything else in my routine other than what I was drinking, so I definitely gave all the credit to the water. And then I realized that the company, they had a great product, but they didn't have any kind of company or structure or management, and I knew nothing about the beverage business and wasn't really interested, but I know a lot of other people. So what I did is I started talking to different people, whether it be Ron Burkle, Nelson Peltz, all these people that I asked their advice, and Sean Combs immediately saw me. I was going everywhere with the water. So Sean approached me and asked me what was it, and he wanted to get involved. And then we finally were lucky enough to kind of land the big fish. We landed John Cochran to become our CEO. Mm-hmm. And so then we kind of rebranded the product, and here I am now taking time away from my wife and kids, going everywhere to talk about the product. But it's like I do with everything else, I don't endorse products. I did one endorsement with Calvin Klein, and it was good when I was young and single, but after that it became a real pain in the ass, no pun intended. But with everything that I do, everything that I've gotten involved in and everything that I've wanted to accomplish throughout my career has been an uphill battle. When I was a a rapper and an underwear model, and I said I wanted to be a serious actor, people laughed at me. And then I said when I wanted to become a serious producer and I wanted to own my own content, people kind of laughed at me. But I just took that with a grain of salt, and this has been the biggest challenge and the biggest struggle because it's definitely out of my comfort zone. But I love going to Kroger because I loved, I get to sit on this side of it, but I love picking their brain, and having to deal with people coming in and talking about new products and the challenges that it poses.
So you made a conscious decision to not rep the brand out front. Is there any discussion that you might?
No, we've always talked about at certain point bringing on like a face of the water, but there isn't anything that I won't do to go out and talk about the product, because it's one of those things where you always see the difference between a celebrity endorsing a product or somebody actually owning the business and being a part of it and really driving the brand. And that was important to me, because I worked really hard to get where I'm at, and I don't want to spread myself thin. I only get involved in things that I believe in, and sometimes to a fault, things that I don't necessarily understand, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm really a student of the beverage business right now, and it's been interesting.
So let's say I'm an entrepreneur and I've landed my Mark Wahlberg. What's the best way to deploy you as an asset? I mean, is it the sort of operational branding calls, the sales calls, and
it really depends on the person and the kind of function that they're willing to provide and the thing that you need from them most. Like for me, I'm just I use all of my relationships. So if I'm going to do a television series with you or we're going to do a movie together, then product placement it's a must. It was actually funny because there was another deal that I was very close to. And I just do things in good faith. Even before we've kind of signed on the dotted line, I want to make things happen. So there was a product that I was involved with, and I started putting it in movies. And we were about to do the movie Ted, and I said, this is the only thing that Ted will drink, and it's going to be a big hit. And of course, they thought it was the dumbest idea they've ever heard. It kind of actually blew the deal. But it's the largest grossing movie I've ever been in. It's made over $500 million to date, and it hasn't even come out in a couple of other international territories. So everything that I do, it's a package deal. And I think it works. And, that's why all the relationship that I've had, we've been able to really kind of bring some great partners into the business. And people have got some other deals going because of the relationship. So,
do you think that's evolving as sort of a best practices idea in, this coast, on this coast, that it's the celebrity has to be involved from top to bottom and that you're going to leverage everything you've got? Or are you still seeing a lot of people who are just willing to be faces?
Well, most people are, because most people like looking at themselves in the mirror. Me, I don't care about that. And for me, it's not even celebrity as opposed to just business. I think I bring a lot more on the business front than I do on the celebrity front because I'm not popular in the tabloid magazines and, paparazzi. If there's nobody else to photograph, then they may take my picture. But for the most part, it's just me going to the supermarket to drop my kids off. And I'm all about the business. I've used my celebrity to help me build the business, but my talents don't go, and my value isn't based on what kind of magazines I can sell, So.
Yeah. How do you evaluate whether you have an emotional connection to a brand? And is that the key for making it work?
Well, I'm pretty intuitive. I think I can always tell when somebody's peddling this or peddling that because they're getting a couple $1 million paycheck. There's some of the greatest athletes in sports today have taken paychecks for other brands and all they drink is Aquahydrate. And now they're interested in a paycheck from Aquahydrate. But that's not necessarily what we want to do. We have a lot of celebrities that drink the water. We supply them with free water. They go out and they talk about how much they like the brand, but that's really the extent of it.
We just saw a lot of early stage companies up there, and this is in relaunch. What's the risk for you for getting involved in an early stage project?
For me, there is no risk because I'm going to give 110%. If it works, great, and everything that we've given 110% has worked. If not, at least I know I didn't leave anything up. I gave it all up, left it all in the field. And, again, putting the right people together, that's why I've been so successful as a producer. I don't go out and say, oh, I know everything about the beverage business. I could clearly state that I know nothing about it, but I'm going to be damn sure I find the best people in the beverage business, and I'm going to shark them away from the companies that they work for, and I'm going to give them a piece of my equity if I have to get them. I don't care. But I really feel like my passion comes from my love of the product, and other than a beautiful glass of Cabernet or Bordeaux, I don't drink anything else.
Well, which Bordeaux?
So if anybody, some wine entrepreneurs here want to give me some free wine, I'll take that.
So let's talk about Entourage for a minute, because there's a real kind of connection to the beverage business that came out of that show. And we don't know, we imagine a lot of it was planned, but it was actually very influential to, I think, a lot of the brands that are here, and it was certainly talked about in our office a lot. We had this game we would play called What's on Ari's Desk? Because it was inevitably a product we were writing about, that we were being pitched on. Did you have any involvement in that kind of product placement on that part of the show?
Well, the only thing, again, we would demand that Aquahydrate would be on every desk and office, both in Ari's office and at the guy's house and everything else. But, other than that, Doug Ellen, who's the writer and creator of the show, would kind of, do it, when he felt it was necessary.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, the whole thing with like Avion was a Doug thing.
Yeah, but there was this cycle of stuff from Vita Coco to Shinako Tequila to, at one point, even Aqua Mantra was on there, which is a water brand that will guide your thoughts.
Yeah, well, the best was I got pitched by a couple of rabbi friends of mine. They had these pizza packets that they thought would make for a great episode of Entourage, them discussing this pizza packets that they were trying to launch in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't know if I can really sell that one. No, it's great. They got the pizza packets, and Vince likes this one, and the other one likes the pepperoni. I don't know. But I actually did get them a meeting to pitch it, but that was as far as it went.
Do you think you'll try and do something like that with Aquahydrate on another show? Is there anything will you start seeing it on Boardwalk Empire?
No, it doesn't really fit the period, but but definitely other stuff in the future. We just did a movie with me and Denzel Washington. We put the product there, and like I said, it's kind of like a package deal. But everybody's really been very, very receptive to that. So.
Are you starting to get involved in a social media push at this point?
I am, but I don't Twitter and Facebook. I mean, somebody in my life does for me, but I'm pretty old-fashioned, and I like to talk to people directly, but I guess that's, if you want to really reach the masses, then that's how you have to do it. My wife is going to have to get the okay from my wife, because she'll think that I'm talking about stuff that I don't need to be talking about, but obviously I would keep it all business.
It's an interesting divide, right? A lot of folks in Hollywood kind of live their lives online, mm-hmm. and push things online, and then a lot of folks are, lay it back a little bit.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of in that kind of space. Now I'm very progressive in different ways, where it's like, realizing that the film and television world is changing drastically. Studios, even though more people are going to the movies, studios are complaining and crying poverty because of DVD sales declining. That will change once you go into, having a digital feed that, instead of costing $4 to produce, will only cost 4 cents to produce. But because of my experience in the television world, we've been able to figure out how to get more bang for our buck, to spend less money, to shoot less time, and still deliver quality product. The Fighter, for instance, was at one point supposed to be a $70 million movie, and we ended up making the movie for $11 million, and it went on to gross $140 million. And then we did the same thing with Contraband, which was going to be a $60 million movie. We did it for $25 million, and it's grossed upwards of $90 to $100 million. So we figured out ways to save money, and there's certain actors that just don't understand that. They won't take less money up front, the real old school guys, because they feel like, well, I've always made X amount of money. But if you take less money up front and you have a successful picture and you give everybody a participation in the profits, you can make a lot more money. I mean, Ted was the most profitable movie I've ever made. And when I told my wife the idea and what I was going to take up front, she told me I was a fucking idiot, excuse my language. But it's a hard movie to sell, and it's a hard idea to sell.
Did she say that when you said you were going to get involved with a water brand too? Or?
Yeah, she said worse than that. But the funny thing is, my wife doesn't drink anything else. The kids want it in their backpacks. Their friends want to know what it is, where they can get it. But like Sean Combs, for instance, he's a partner in the company as well. he's all about social media. He's Twittering every damn thing under the sun. He's talking about this and talking about that. But it's a big deal. So I've got to kind of find a way to kind of commit to it and, get on board and figure out how I can utilize it and, all the business things that I have going.
What's the key channel for Aquahydrate? Key store you want to see it in?
Well, it's obviously, in the beginning stages, I feel like we're gearing it towards the athletes, but I think it's for everybody. You've talked about all these products and people coming up, and, I'm a very athletic guy, and I like to work out and exercise, and Sean Combs likes to drink a lot of Ciroc, and he's got to drink Aquahydrate at the end of the night to get up and do it again the next day. So when you see a lot of these products that people were selling, I think Aquahydrate's has all of those things and embodies all of those things. So ultimately, I think, it should be the next hip thing for kids, Instead of kids drinking soda at school, they should be drinking water. Soccer moms drinking it. It's for, for anybody who has aspirations.
What are some of the key things you've learned about the beverage business now?
That it's a motherfucker. I mean, excuse my language, but holy shit. It's crazy. I was just saying, we went to Kroger. We had an amazing meeting with Ashley and Carmen. It was really good. And we're doing GNC called, and, we're now 50% of the water being sold at GNC. We haven't even been in the store for a month. But they love the product so much. We've done clinicals. And they really feel like if they want their products, their consumers to get the best benefits out of their products, that they should be taking it with Aquahydrate. So they put us in all of their stores. But then you come again to a place like this, and it's like, it's one of those things, but like I said, everything that I've committed to, I commit 110%.
When you go into
I had to lie to my wife today to tell her that I was going somewhere else instead of coming here. But this is how important it is to me and how much I believe in the product. So here I am, and flying to Cincinnati after being away I've done 4 movies this year, and I was only home for a week. Literally, I got home that Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and a week later, I was flying, taking a day trip to Cincinnati to go and talk about the water.
But John Cochran can be tougher than anyone's wife, right?
Hell no. My wife would chew him up and spit him out. I mean, but why do you think? I don't do anything other than I'm working or I'm home, because family is the most important thing. But, this is going to be, if this business is the success that I think it can be, then this will allow me to stay home more and not have to go on location so much.
But you go to a place like GNC or a place like Kroger, and isn't there a temptation on their part to try and say, well, we're going to have the life-size Mark Wahlberg next to this product? And does that come up, and how do you counter that?
No, because they understand that, it's about the product. There isn't anything that I won't do. Like I have 4 movies coming out this year. So we spend a lot of time figuring out how, when I go out to promote a movie, that we can also integrate promoting the products and talk about where they're available. So, I tell them that we will bring a lot of attention to their business, because we want people to know where to go and buy the water. We just have to figure out cool and interesting ways. If things go south and people don't start going to my movies, then maybe I'll be in the parking lot singing Good Vibrations. Whatever I got to do. But, right now we just got to figure out different creative ways. I'll send Diddy over there now. But no, I just, they know that there isn't anything that I won't do within reason to go out there and promote the product. And certainly, show the consumer where the product is available.
Can you get it into Wahlburgers?
I got it at Wahlburgers, yes. Of course, we only sell my products at Wahlburgers and our own beers. But again, that's another business that I was reluctant to get into, but my brother is such a talented guy that, it was like, okay, I'll give you, because here's the thing, just like this product or Wahlburgers, the name can get you to try it the first time, but it's the quality of the product that's going to get people coming back. Steve Carell, with Unsolicited, was in People magazine. They asked you all these questions, and they said, well, if you had to have your last meal, what would it be? And he said, I would want Wahlburgers, because he actually loves it. My brother's a 5-star chef, so, he is the talent behind that. He's the one who's going to be capable of it. Now, it was our job to surround him with really talented people to help him build that business. So what I did is I found Rick Venzura, who was one of the guys instrumental in building Panera Bread. And he lived a mile away from the original restaurant. So he came on to be our CEO, and now we're selling a docuseries about building the brand. And building it at our pace, I've had offers from everybody, to come to build out in Vegas and Dubai and everywhere else. But we want to build the restaurant. We want to maintain the quality of each burger.
You want to do it at home.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll start in New England, and we're hoping it 10 years, we could have 50 to 100 in the New England area alone.
Do you think there's a push in Hollywood against minstrelsy in sort of pushing brands against just that classic, I'm Joe DiMaggio, Mr. Coffee?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where for me to be involved and to me to get involved, I just have to believe in it. I have to own it. I have to have the control, and I have to have the right people handling it. It's like everything else, Making a great film is really difficult. And then, of course, marketing it and getting people to understand what it is in a 15 to 30-second spot is even more difficult. So it's really about building the right team, having the right players in the right place, and then having a lot of good luck.
Speaking of 15 to 30-second spot, we're just about out of time. I have one last question for you.
I've been waiting for these guys to blow the horn for 20 minutes.
Yeah. No horn.
No bailout for me. Huh?
No horn for me. You've been out here a long time. Celtics or Lakers?
You know what? I'm a diehard Celtics fan, but I just took my kids to a Laker game, and Kobe's there, and he's like, you're a Celtics fan too. He's like, I'm born in California. I'm a Laker fan, but we're going to take the kids to the Patriots game on Monday night, and look forward to getting home.
Great. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.